stuff.
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review. Deathspell Omega, Drought. These guys are a French band that kind of got its start playing black metal in the late 90s and early 2000s, up until the point where they really made a huge change in direction and started mixing their black metal roots with progressive metal and technical metal. Since they started doing that, they have been releasing some of the most interesting albums and EPs in black metal, modern black metal, period. Now, when it comes to progressive and technical metal, I tend to be very picky, and it's only because a lot of bands that get labeled as being progressive or technical put together really bland, lifeless, plastic sounding recordings that really just don't sound good. It doesn't sound like I'm listening to a band, it just kind of sounds like I'm listening to a machine or something. But Deathspell Omega steps away from all of that, thankfully, and just one track after another track delivers these really raw performances of twisted and sometimes nearly indecipherable metal songs. And I really love the sound of the music on this EP. The drums sound great, they're really clear, they're feeling so real, so tangible, so crisp. You really get a sense of the way the kit sounds. The guitars are really rugged, they're textured, they're rich. Sometimes there's a really dramatic beauty to them, like in the intro track, which is very, I guess, kind of spacious, a lot like an Earth song. The guitars are also fit for playing these extremely frenetic and fast riffs that cannot seem to really kind of sit still in a single groove for all too long, constantly changing speed and direction, and sometimes no real clear song structure comes out of the chaos that these guys are orchestrating. You get these really sour, dissonant black metal chords, you get the intricate drums and grooves, rhythms, fills, and on top of all of that, these extremely just gruesome lead vocals, throaty. And the way that they're delivered throughout much of Deathspell Omega's discography, you don't really get a sense of singing as much as you do narration, which isn't a surprise considering that these guys, with their last full-length album, finished a conceptual trilogy based on the theological relationship between God, Satan, and man. Technically and compositionally and sonically, production-wise, there's a lot to praise. However, their music is not the easiest pill to swallow. And believe it or not, this album and the band's new EP are two of the most accessible releases in their discography. For one, this EP kind of breaks the mold of Deathspell Omega's past several EPs and is not one or a few very lengthy songs. Instead, you get a grouping of 6 tracks that range from 1 minute 30 seconds to 4 and change. Like I said, the opening track is really pretty, just dark and moody. The track following after, Fiery Serpents, though it is changing, constantly shifting, the riffs are pretty readable. The track Abrasive Swirling MURK earns its name easily. Tons of drum fills that are nearly impossible to calculate, but the improved recording quality that Deathspell is working with on this new EP actually makes the hectic chaos much easier to make sense of. The closing track on here bows out before I really would have liked it to, but not before it starts incorporating a very faint group of chorus vocals that are pretty chilling and a very anthemic chord progression. For the most part, I feel like these tracks are kind of a continuation of a lot of the sounds that were on Paracletus. Deathspell Omega is definitely not letting go of this more direct approach that they've been dealing with recently, but now they're doing it with a better recording that makes them sound amazing. This EP is basically a great way for Deathspell Omega to just say, we still have great things coming after we have finished this trilogy. And they're teasing toward it with what they're probably going to sound a lot like in the near future with a new LP, with one of the best metal EPs I've heard this year. I'm feeling a decent to strong 8 on this EP. What did you guys think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And what should I review next? Anthony Fantano, Deathspell Omega, forever.